Hey everyone, welcome back. So happy hump day today, Wednesday. Oh my gosh. The week is flying by pretty quick here, but it's been a good day. Bitcoin was kind of down, kind of up, finished in the green on the day, but the miners were actually pretty good, all things considering, still outperforming Bitcoin there. So that was a good day. It wasn't as great as yesterday, but it was a green day for the miners, so that was good. We got a lot of things to talk about here today. Obviously, we'll take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and miners as well as the price action today. And then big story is sovereign wealth funds have been buying Bitcoin while retail has been selling. So not surprised by that a little bit. A little surprised, but not that much. And then Riot got a new credit facility with Coinbase for about 100 million there. We'll talk about that. Jack Mallers, also CEO of 21 Corp now. So he was appointed CEO. Jack is also the CEO of, gosh, what is that company there? I'm drawing a blank right now. It's not the Cash App, or is it the Cash App? I can't remember. There's Jack, and there's also the guy that started Twitter. Oh gosh, man, my memory is going to crap. You guys know who I'm talking about there, I think. And then we got more bullish news for Bitcoin as well to talk about. So there's a lot of things happening here. We'll get into it all. We'll get into Q&A at the end of it. But as you guys know, this is not financial advice. We're trying to only do your own research, as always. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. That's all I ask from you guys here. So let's take a look at what's going on here with the markets really quick and Bitcoin and everything else. And we'll take a look at it. So Bitcoin today was in the green, right, which was kind of nice. It was up just a little bit. It was up a hair. It was up 0.27% on the day. All things considered, that was pretty good. We did go down to a low of 91,902, finished out the day at 93,740, which was good. We're still hugging the 93,000 line for the time being. On the new day, we're down just a little bit. Also, we're down 0.24%, nothing major. We're still at 93,497 there. But the miners, for the most part, did at least 4x, if not even a lot better. So that was good to see. Markets were also in the green today. Let's take a look at Dixie really quick. Dixie was down a little bit more today after 2 days of running up a little bit here. So dollars at 99.6. The U.S. 30-year fund rate was down today to 4.79. U.S. 10-year was down to 4.36. Gold was up today, considering it was down, or actually it's up now, I think, in the new day. And for Thursday. For Wednesday, was down to approximately closed at 3,287. And then the VIX is down. Crude, let's see, where's crude at? Oh gosh, where's the WTI? Crude is down a little bit here. Well, it was down today, but it's up a little bit on the new day. So it's at $62 right now per barrel, so that's not too bad either. Going back here, miners. Miners did actually pretty good here. Bitfarms got to $1. It was actually above $1 at some point today, for probably the majority of the day, actually, when I was watching it. But it went to a high of $1.08, closed at $1 here. It now gets reset, I think, with NASDAQ requirements. I think being above $1 here resets that time clock again for them for another 180 days. If they fall below it tomorrow or something like that, they get, extension basically. So they did close above, well, $1. I don't know if they did close above $1 or $1, but they did close above it, so that was good there. They were up 6% here. I think they were the best performer here today. Yeah, they were the best performer today. BitDeer was up 4.9% here. It also touched the 50-day simple moving average line here and fell back down. Cypher was up 4.38%. It's still quite a ways away from the 50-day simple moving line. Cleanspark closed above it yesterday and today was up 1.14%. CORZ was up 2.89%. Hive was up 5.6%. Hut 8 was up 3.9%, almost 4% there. IREN lagging a little bit here is only up 0.66%, along with Mara being up 0.5%, half a percentage point there. Riot was up 5.34%, higher at one point, then it came back down. Wolf was up 5.28%. So overall, pretty good day for the miners, considering that Bitcoin was only up 0.25%. Right, I was looking at Bitcoin and as it was coming down, the miners were still in the green the whole time. So that was good to see. We haven't seen that in a long time. Usually when we see Bitcoin going in the red, we would see the miners also going in the red. But that has not occurred here today. So maybe things are starting to turn around for us here with the miners and Bitcoin possibly going up higher from there. MicroStrategy was up just a little bit today, 0.79. Galaxy, I thought Galaxy would be up higher from where it ended up at with the news that came out for them getting another deal with Coreweave. We'll talk about that, but they were up 2.86% on that. But I think it's mainly because the time frame there is probably like 2027. But we'll talk about it when they get to it. What else do we have here? Small miners. Argo was up for some reason quite nicely today, up 11%. I'm not sure why. Mawson was up 8.59. Canon was up 6.96. Too many numbers. ETFs were up at least a little bit today, 3% for WGMI. DAP was up 1.94, BKCH 2.53, and BitQ 2.23. So we'll take it, right? Green day is a green day, nonetheless. We'll take it. Bitcoin was in the green a little bit. Miners did a little bit better there. Great day. I'll take it every time we get these. So let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here for the month of April. We are still up 13% on the month. Today was obviously a small increase there, but it's doing pretty good here. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETFs as well. How did those stack up here really quick from yesterday? So yesterday we had almost $1 billion of inflows, 912 million here. We saw another day of inflows today at 273. We'll have to wait and see what we get from BlackRock again. They're a little late to report. We did have one selling out, and that was Bitwise. Sold about 15.2 million there. So it is looking much, much better here. At least we've had a couple days of green on purchases from the ETFs. All right, news stories that we got here. First one is Jack Mallers to lead Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald-backed Bitcoin Treasury Company 21 Corp there. 21 Capital, I think they're calling it. 21 Capital will launch with 42,000 BTC in assets. That gets them pretty close to where Marathon is, which would put them in probably third spot, I think, after MicroStrategy, Mara, and then it would be 21 Capital here. Jack Mallers is also with, who is he with? Do you guys remember who he's with? Gosh, but this guy's a huge bull for Bitcoin. Is it the Cash App? I'm thinking it's the Cash App for some reason, but I don't know. Remind me who he's with. Might be the Cash App. Or is it Stripe? It might be Stripe that he's with. There's too many of these doggone apps going around. But I think he's with one of those guys, with one of those companies. He's a CEO there. Like I said, he's a huge proponent of Bitcoin. Him being the CEO over there of the 21 Capital Corp, that's great. That's huge. They're basically what they're trying to do is replicate the same kind of playbook that MicroStrategy is, but offer other services on top of the Bitcoin that they hodl there, as well as possibly a trading desk, loaning out Bitcoin, things like that. It'll be interesting to see how they do all of this. So this is great news, huge news. This is positive news for Bitcoin in general. And then we have from the Wolf of All Streets here, break-in sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin as retail exits, says Coinbase exec. There was a Coinbase exec interview on CNBC. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely look for it there. That was really good. He said, while small investors panic, the world's biggest money managers are quietly stacking sats. I don't think he said that, but this is basically what do you call this? Just the gist of it, right? What he's saying, that was from a source of Cointelegraph, but it was on CNBC. On CNBC, I did watch it today, and it is, kind of nice to see that big guys are buying in, which then also makes us think, why are they buying in? What do they know that we don't know that retail doesn't know, right? So they're going big into it. Retail is panicking that we're selling out. And then retail is going to come back in at a higher price, unfortunately. So sometimes it's best to just hodl Bitcoin and continue to stack sats. Don't get too wise. Don't get too cute with Bitcoin. The best thing you can do is probably hold on to it and add more to it as time goes on, especially on dips, because Bitcoin's definitely not going to zero anytime soon. More likely, it's going only to 1 million than anything else. But that's going to take a couple more years, I think. Okay, so that's great news there. Also from Vivek here, publicly traded, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, Malayuz, is ripping after announcing the Bitcoin Treasury strategy. So this is, I guess, a publicly traded company, and I think it's in Brazil. But they're up 23% just by announcing that they're doing a Bitcoin Treasury, and you're seeing more and more companies putting Bitcoin on their Treasury here, right? This is great news. More adoption, more Bitcoin being stacked off probably exchanges and everything else makes it that much more scarce going long run, I guess you could say. All right. Next here is just in Panama City officials officially signs deal with local bank to process municipal payments in Bitcoin. Right. Another point of adoption here. You're going to start seeing more and more cities probably doing this as well, where they're going to be accepting payments in Bitcoin and possibly other cryptocurrencies as well. This is going to propel Bitcoin to be adopted even further. Right. If you can make a payment, I don't know if I would make a payment in Bitcoin for my taxes or anything like that, or fees. But some people can definitely do that. So it definitely does help out that way. All right. You guys are saying that Jack Mallers is the CEO of Zap. Zap is his Strike's parent company. Okay, so Strike. Yeah, so finally got it right. I was thinking it's a Cash App, but it is Strike. So thank you for that, GT. Greatly appreciate the comment there. All right, next here we got Galaxy Digital really quick to get into. And this is pretty interesting here. And kind of sad in a sense as well for some of the other miners. And I'll give you guys my thoughts on it here in a second here. But today, Galaxy announced its commitment with Coreweave to host additional artificial intelligence and high-performance computing infrastructure at Helios Data Center campus. Remember, this is the data center that Helios bought from Argo a while back when Argo was in financial trouble. So, man, if Argo had this, Argo would be doing pretty good right now. But, you know, it is what it is. Galaxy is benefiting from their loss, unfortunately. So, Argo is looking to be a good one, too, but they got into financial trouble, unfortunately. But here's what we got. Coreweave has exercised its first option to access additional critical IT load for Coreweave's artificial intelligence and high-performance computing operations at Helios Data Center, pursuant to terms substantially similar to those outlined in the 15-year, 133 megawatt lease agreement. Right. So if we go there, that was for $4.5 billion here over 15 years. Excuse me. 4.5 billion is right there, right? 133 megawatts. So based on that, I did some back of the napkin math here. I came up with 25.7 cents per kilowatt hour based on this, on the 4.5 billion over 15 years. If we extrapolate that data into the new deal that they have here for another, I'm guessing it's going to be another 15 years here. It says it here, under the Phase 2 option agreement, Galaxy has agreed to deliver approximately 260 megawatts of incremental critical IT load to host Coreweave's AI and HPC operations at its Helios Data Center campus. This incremental capacity would be structured under similar economic terms as Phase 1 agreement and would increase Coreweave's total contracted capacity for AI and HPC operations at the Helios Data Center campus to approximately 393 megawatts of critical IT load. Okay, that is number 2 there. What are they saying that? Critical 260 megawatts of IT load utilizes 400 megawatts of gross power capacity at Galaxy's privately owned substation. Critical IT load refers to the amount of power delivered to a data center servers, storage, network infrastructure, and other critical systems, excluding power for ancillary systems such as mechanical cooling and other supportive. Okay, so excluding power for ancillary, so you need cooling, all that stuff. That's separate from that. That's why they're basically using 400 megawatts on it. On the 260, for the total 393 megawatts they have with the prior contract, it'd be 600 megawatts of gross power there. That's definitely quite a bit there. So based on this, if we take that 25.7 cents per kilowatt hour, we end up with approximately, for Phase 2, they would get approximately 8.78 billion, if my math is correct. For it combined with the 4.5 billion, that totals 13.28 billion over 15 years. I'd have to compare it, how it compares to the Coreweave and Core Scientific deal that they have there. I think it's for 12 years, possibly, but they have room to expand that. So maybe tomorrow or tonight I'll run some data on that, see where both deals compare, which deal is actually a better one. All right, so that's interesting there. So here's what we got as far as Phase 2. This Phase 2 commitment with Coreweave marks another major step in Galaxy's evolution as a trusted partner for next generation of data center infrastructure, said Mike Novogratz. He's the founder there of Galaxy. Site modifications to support the Helios Data Center campus's transition from Bitcoin mining operations to hosting AI and HPC infrastructure are already underway, so that's good. Galaxy expects Phase 1 of its agreement with Coreweave to be ready for service in the first half of 2026, so we're basically a year out on it. But once they do, it's definitely going to bring in some revenue for them. Critical IT load under Phase 2 is expected to be delivered throughout 2027, so we're roughly 2 years out for that. And maybe that's why the stock didn't do that well today because of the news, because it's 2 years out, right? So that's going to be quite a ways of time before they start making revenue on this. In addition, Coreweave retains exclusivity to enter into a further agreement to access up to an additional 133 megawatts of critical IT load at the Helios Data Center campus in order to utilize all of Galaxy's currently approved capacity for AI HPC data centers, which would then put that at like 800 megawatts, I think. Yeah, down here it says that Galaxy acquired the Helios Data Center campus in Dickens County, Texas in December of 2022 from Argo blockchain. In addition to the 800 megawatt of gross power capacity that is already approved at the current Helios project substation, Galaxy has an incremental 1.7 gigawatts of power capacity currently under various stages of load study, allowing the company to expand its power capacities to support additional AI HPC data center infrastructure development. Wow. Okay, I was not aware of that. The 1.7 additional, an incremental 1.7 gigawatts. That's huge, right? That would put that at a total of, what would that be? 2.5 gigawatts total, if I'm reading this correctly, right? The 800 plus the 1.7 gigawatts there. That would definitely make it in comparison to what IREN has. IREN has 2 gigawatts between the two Clearwater sites they have And that's kind of the part that's kind of sad, is we're seeing Coreweave go with Core Scientific, going now with Galaxy. Could they pick a third provider as well? Maybe, depending on how much demand they need, how much megawatts they need to build out these data centers for their AI and HPC stuff. So, they already have a lot as it is with Coreweave and now Galaxy as well. They're planning definitely for down the road here. And what does that mean for the other miners? IREN, Cypher. Who else is in there trying to get more stuff? Riot, Hut 8. All these guys are, looking into getting HPC data customers. But these kind of large-scale, hyperscaler almost, you could say, that Coreweave is getting into is slim pickings. From what I'm seeing here at least. And maybe in time we'll have something, but right now it doesn't bode well for the other players in the space. IREN, which I own, as you guys know, Hut 8, Riot, also Cypher there, probably others. Also Bitfarms, right, is going for that as well. Mara, in a sense, so they're open to it also. So, you got a lot of players in the Bitcoin mining space that are trying to get these types of huge contracts where they're few and far between right now. So it's a little sad because we don't know if there's going to be anything developing there. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm optimistic that they can get something, but it's definitely getting harder and harder, I think. So we'll see. We'll see what it turns out to be going forward on this. All right, so there's that on Galaxy. So great job by Galaxy, man, getting this this deal here. I don't know if it's who you know, which might be the case here, because if you think back to Core and Coreweave, Coreweave was originally a customer of Core for GPU mining. And I believe that was the case in some Bitcoin mining as well. So they had that relationship there already, which maybe helped Coreweave land the deal that they did with Coreweave. And then you also had, who was the other one? Oh, geez, TeraWulf. TeraWulf had Stanley Druckenmiller. He invested in the company also. Did he have any connections with Core 42 guys there or something like that? And, he pushed them towards TeraWulf. I don't know for sure, but it seems like it's who you know that's kind of helping things out. So maybe the other miners need to find some good friends in the industry that have good connections to push things their way. Maybe, I don't know. Just thinking out loud here a little bit. All right, but that's it on Galaxy here. Let's take a look at Riot really quick here, and then we'll get into Q&A. So Riot is platform announces 100 million credit facility with Coinbase. All right, this is a little bit less than what Cleanspark got. Cleanspark got 200 million credit facility with Coinbase as well, and they're going to be using probably for the same types of things more or less. But Riot is pleased to announce that it has entered a 100 million credit facility with Coinbase Credit. Under the terms of the credit facility, Coinbase will provide a multiple drawdown term loan facility and an aggregate principal amount of up to $100 million, which will be made available to Riot over a 2-month period following execution of the credit facility. Riot intends to use proceeds from the credit facility to pursue key strategic initiatives and for general corporate purposes. So this is good, right? You do have a little bit of interest on that, but it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good, which they describe down below here. But it does give him optionality. It does give him some other avenues to use capital in an efficient way instead of diluting all the time. So this helps a little bit, but they're going to need a heck of a lot more if they get HPCI deal with somebody potentially. Depending on the contract with the HPCI deal, will somebody go in there and offer them to front run the cost of build out, and then they're going to do something where they actually pay 50% less or something like that, with Core and Coreweave did. But continuing on here, Riot has entered into its first Bitcoin-backed facility, which provides us with a non-dilutive funding at an attractive cost of financing. It's Jason Less there, CEO of Riot. This credit facility is a key part of our efforts to diversify sources of financing to support our operations and strategic growth initiatives with a view towards long-term stockholder value creation. Right, we kind of heard that all as well from Cleanspark. They're all now about stockholder value creation. And, if they're all about that, maybe cut down on some of the share-based compensation and all that stuff, and everything else. But that goes for every company here. They're definitely getting rich off the shareholders. Let's see. All amounts borrowed under the credit facility will bear interest at an annual rate equal to A, the greater of I, the federal funds rate upper limit on the date of the applicable borrowing, and 2, 3.25% plus 4.5% The credit facility will mature 364 days after the effective date, but the company may request that the maturity date be extended by an additional 364 days, subject to a consent by Coinbase. The amount borrowed under the credit facility will be secured by a portion of the company's total Bitcoin holdings, which is standard case here. So we're seeing a lot more of this happening here. So it's kind of interesting that companies are going this route instead of going with dilution, which I kind of like, but eventually they have to pay this back. And if they're not selling the Bitcoin to do that, well, it's going to be through the ATM or through another round of secured debt financing, or not secured debt, notes probably, right, on those. So we'll see. We'll see what they get, if they're able to get any kind of AI HPC customer and the remaining megawatts that they have left at their facility. But yeah, that is it. That's all I got for you guys. So there's a lot of good news happening here in Bitcoin and everything else. It's just, we got to be patient, I think. Everybody wants things right away, but sometimes you get tested, and we have definitely been tested here in the last, I would say, 3.5 months or so. So let's get into the Q&A. So if you were strong enough to hold and buy the dip, I think you're going to do very well. It's not easy to do that, right? It's always easier to, it's a strange paradox here with trading, whether it's stocks, Bitcoin, whatever it might be. Whenever things go down, the tendency is to sell, right? But when we look at it another way, if you get a 30% off at a store that you love shopping at, you're going to see something that you want at 30% off. You're like, I'm going to buy this, right? So we got to change our mentality a little bit here when it comes to the markets in general. All right, so let's get into Q&A. As always, if you guys could preface the questions with a question mark or a Q, greatly appreciate it. And we'll go through this relatively quickly, I think, tonight, unless we have a lot of questions here. We'll start with Andre here. Why is IREN such a dog? I hate what Dan has done to the company, totally tanked it down the drain. A lot of you guys are complaining about IREN right now. I own IREN, as you guys know. I'm a little bit more optimistic. I'm not a big fan, obviously, of that 1 billion ATM, but they got it, and I think they're trying to do that and maybe have that for when they do need it to build out a data center for HPCI. Maybe, I don't know. But hopefully they're not pulling on it too hard right now with the price where it's at $6, I think is where IREN's at right now. Yeah, $6.10. I hope they're not pulling it too hard on that ATM right now. I wish they would wait until price goes up a little bit. And maybe they should come out and say, hey, we're putting a pause on the ATM for a quarter or something like that until the stock is doing much better. At that point, we will reevaluate and everything else like that. But it's doing what it's doing right now as far as performance is concerned. I think it's because of they talked about the HPCI possible hyperscaler back in was there at the end of Q4 results, which was I think their Q2 results. Dan spoke about getting an email from a hyperscaler that they're interested in working with them, but we haven't heard anything else beyond that. We've heard little things here that they're still working on, things like that, but nothing concrete. So once we get maybe something concrete, maybe that'll help, or if we don't, it might not actually help here. So, but they still continue to build out great. They're 40 exahash already as it is. They're supposed to get to 50 exahash by the end of this first half, which gives them basically 2.5 months left, or really 2 months now. I don't see any issues with them getting there. So I think they're going to be fine getting to that as it is. Let's see here. Someone says, Andre, IREN's fine, dude, relax. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think it's just, right now, the missing link is the HPCI deal, potentially. Thermalon says, CleanSpark, IREN, and Mara are top dogs in the space. I wouldn't put money in any of the others. I only hold the best, dump the rest. Okay? Let's see here. Turd Ferguson, thanks, Seb. You're very welcome. Let's see. Can you please look up UPXI? What is UPXI? Let's take a look at it. See if we can find it here. UPXI, what is that one? That's on the NASDAQ. Let's see. What's it doing? UPXI, wow. Is up to only 2% today. For what reason is it? What do they do? UPXI Inc. Let's see here if we can maybe get some info on them. Let's take a look. Financials. Market capitalization 14. Wow, that's a small company. 14.54 million. 64 employees. UPX engages in development, manufacturing, and distribution of consumer products through a direct-to-consumer network, wholesale partnership, and major third-party platforms. Its brands include Lucky Tail, Prax, Cure Mushrooms, Moonwalker, Gummy Labs. The company was founded in September 20. Okay, don't know anything about them, but it's definitely had a good day today. Let's see here. take a look at earnings here really quick. EPS estimated negative $1.60, revenue 18. Definitely a small company. So, I mean, it's basically, I mean, it's not really a penny stock because it's $11. But let's see, why did it go up today? Do we have any news on them? Let's see here. Top performers, decliners, U.S. equities markets. I don't see any news, at least not for them. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Do you have any insights into what's going on there? Let's go back here. All right. Behind the catch-up here, there's a question. Why do websites like TipRanks have BitDigital and a better buy than Cleanspark? Any guesses? I think it's because they're getting into this consistent revenue stream of buying data centers, smaller ones, 5 megawatts, 3 megawatts, whatever it might be, and getting revenue from current customers there and also adding on customers as well. So I think that might be the reason why, where you have a predictable revenue stream instead of where Cleanspark is getting revenue that's unpredictable because of Bitcoin. So that might be the only reason I can think of for the reasons why. You might get a better buy rating maybe. All right, let's see. It'll be interesting to see the short sale numbers. Yeah, especially after this last couple of days. Probably won't get that until, gosh, probably early May for that data. We'll get some data coming in here for, well, it's going to be a while because usually the data comes in like the middle of the month and we'll get that like a week afterwards. So we should be getting close to that point to see where the data was for the middle of April at least. See, Heinze says, Jack Mallers debated Peter Schiff. It was awesome. I did not catch that. I missed that one. But yeah, I definitely love what Jack is doing and everything else. All right. Sorry, Melon. Question said, my man, my brother, my financial advisor, the legend, how high is Bitcoin going to fly? What's your conservative price target? My conservative price target for Bitcoin is this year. I would say 150,000 I think is doable. We might go higher than that. My original estimate was 180. That was before we had all of this adoption happening here, which then put my price target up a little bit higher. I was thinking maybe 250,000 by the end of the cycle, which, like you guys know, I'm thinking the cycle might be extended here. That's why we might go that high. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to be in 2027 or in 2026 or 2027. Right? If it's an extended cycle, we could be going up for a couple of years. Then we will have these kind of dips and extended corrections and accumulation phases like we have been seeing here recently. Maybe, we'll see. GTO, again, thank you for that about Jack Mallers being with Strike. That's kind of where I know him from. When CORZ Moon, CORZ, gosh, I don't know. I think once we get closer to them getting revenue from Coreweave, which should be happening in the later part of the year, I believe, based on their current estimates of getting things energized for them. All right. B82 says CORZ is now mostly valued on Coreweave deal and needs the revenue to start flowing and AI market to catch a bid again. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Let's see. I think you're referring to Core there, but they still mine good Bitcoin too. It's getting lower and lower because they're not really doing any expansion there. Currently, they're supposed to get some more miners from, gosh, Block, I believe. Okay. All right. What else do we have here? All right. GT says, I hope the Galaxy deal doesn't mean Coreweave is pulling away from CORZ. No, it doesn't. It's just an additional data center that they're going to be having access to. And Coreweave should be ready to go before Galaxy is with them. So why would you go there if time is of the essence, right? I just don't see that. Let's see. Sadie, thank you so much for the thumbs up and the likes as always. Okay. Hi, Seb. Your thoughts on Applied? Applied is building out a data center there in, what is it, North Dakota, I think it is. I think the stock went down here. Let me see if I can find it really quick. The stock went down on news of their report of earnings, I think it was, that I saw here recently. Let me see, where are we at here? AI, Applied, where's Applied? APLD, there it is. Yeah, so here's the chart on that one. Let's see here. Right, yeah, earnings. Earnings came in, and the earnings were a surprise, negative down on that reported revenue. So that was down 11 million. So that doesn't bode too well. And that's why the stock is down here. I think the path going forward is going to be a good one for them. They just need to get more customers in there for their data center, and they need to get that data center built out and finished out. So that should be happening hopefully sometime this year. And at that point, they'll do better. But I mean, yeah, they went down quite a bit here. They went down on that day 35%. That was definitely pretty painful. So if you're able to stomach it and buy more into it, I think in the long run, you will be rewarded, but it's going to take a little time. All right, let's go back here. GT says, Galaxy is a long-term hold for me. Mike has diamond hands on all of their operating units. Yeah. Mike has done a mistake with, what was it, Luna, right? That thing got tanked on him. He learned his lesson, I think, on that one. But yeah, Mike is also a goat in this space when it comes to Bitcoin and everything else. So yeah, hold on to that one for a long time, especially once they start getting revenues from the Coreweave deal here. It's going to be good one. 15 years of solid revenue happening for them. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. See, Mortem says, IREN has a full tank of gas, but 3 flat tires. The stock does, at least right now, it seems like. See, Don says, Cantor strikes 3.6 billion crypto venture deal with SoftBank. Yep, talked about that one. Jack Mallers is going to be the CEO there. He's also CEO of Strike. So that's really good news there. And they're going to, I mean, they're going to have 40, I think they already have 42,000 Bitcoin right now. So that's, you know, more Bitcoin that's not going to be used up or not going to be on the exchanges, which is great. So we'll see where that takes us. But yeah, well, I mean, there's just so much good news here happening right now. And we just have to be patient, unfortunately. Nothing happens overnight. We do get these little corrections. We're still, I think, in this correction move on Bitcoin right now as it is. I don't think it's the end of it. I believe we're still going to go up much higher later on this year. So we'll see where things go, but we just got to be patient and have faith. As much as we can have faith that Bitcoin and the adoption that we're seeing here and everything else will take us much higher. It's just going to be a bumpy ride along. It's never been an easy ride. In the past, it was a faster ride to the upside with Bitcoin going parabolic relatively quickly and within several months here. I mean, we've been going at it since basically last year with Bitcoin, and we've had these extended cycles where, or extended spans of time where Bitcoin just kind of goes sideways and down about 30%. So we've seen this already twice, like I said before. You know, if this is the way it's going to go and we're going to go for an extended time, I'm fine with it. As long as we don't go in, 50% drawdowns or something like that, that might lead us to a bear market at that point. Okay, your prediction when BTC will surpass Apple and Google in market cap? I mean, geez. I mean, Apple's got what, 3 trillion market cap. Bitcoin's 1.6 trillion, 1.7 trillion, something like that. So we need Bitcoin to basically double in price, roughly. So if we get to 200,000, something like that, I would expect Bitcoin to do that. So it might be within the next year or two that we might see this happen. But we'll see. All right. Have you started to trim your positions and wait for another dip? I have not, no. My strategy has always been, as you guys know, to buy the dips and then wait for a much, much higher payout later on. Unfortunately, this recent dip I have not been able to buy because Uncle Sam needed money and I had to pay it. And then property taxes are coming up as well. So I'm all cash out right now. No ATM to go to, unfortunately. So yeah. All right, guys, we'll call it a day. Thank you so much for coming in. As always, greatly appreciate you all for the comments and questions and everything else. We'll get back to it tomorrow, see what happens, see if there's any other good news possibly. We'll cover it when it happens. And I'm still working on some AI data center plays here that I want to talk to you guys about. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow if I have time to finish it up. It's just been busy at work, busy in general in life with family, kids, sports, and everything else. So it's taking a lot more time here out of me than I was expecting. At least, during the winter time, I have a heck of a lot more time because you can't really do anything outside. But now that we're getting to spring and things are warming up, it's, outside and everything else. But so I'll try to get something for you guys going there tomorrow. But yeah, let's see. Don says, still waiting to pay Uncle Sam. I signed up for a short-term payment plan. Don't want to sell when market is low. That's maybe the way I should have gone. Maybe next time we'll do that. But yeah, thank you so much for coming in. I love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.